Hi guys, number one Marmaduke fan here, with a review of a very strange anime film titled Birth, originally released in 1984. Birth has such an incredibly simple plot, it's difficult to review. First, let me try to review it without spoilers. It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and of that time, about 1 hour is spent on ambitious, beautifully animated chase scenes and fight sequences. About 15 minutes are spent on either bizarre comic relief or chill, calming scenes, showing off the beautiful scenery in space. And about 5 minutes are spent on the plot. Basically, if you would love to see some incredibly beautifully animated chase scenes with expressive comedic characters and some chill, mysterious sci-fi scenery, Birth is an absolutely perfect movie for you, and I enjoyed it for all of those reasons. That said, it's a really bizarre, unpolished film. I suspect the animators were having fun experimenting with different things and seeing how many gags and beautiful effects they could sneak into one movie. So, if you watch it, you should go in expecting a strange experience. Spoiler warning for the rest of this review. The ending is weird, artistic, and abstract, and I do not understand what it's supposed to be. It's either the most mystical and beautiful movie I've ever seen, or it's the most bizarre, hilarious acid trip movie I've ever seen. Or maybe it's both at the same time, but I definitely think it's worth a watch. With that, let's talk about some of the artistic talent behind the movie. The animation director and character designer was Yoshinori Kanada, who had previously worked on Galaxy Express 999 and Harmageddon. He is credited as one of the inspirations for Takashi Murakami's super flat art movement. During the 80s and 90s, Kanada collaborated with Hayao Miyazaki. He's also credited for giving his key animators a lot of creative freedom and license, allowing them to add their own individual artistic expression to different parts of the movie. He died in 2009, and many Japanese animators have named him as an inspiration for their work. For example, the final episode of Panty and Stocking was dedicated in Kanada's honor. The art director was Geki Katsumata, who also has credits on dozens of anime productions from the 70s to the 2000s. The chill, synthy score was composed by Joe Hisaishi, who also wrote the score for several famous Studio Ghibli films. Aside from Kanada himself, there were 10 additional main animators. I'll link to pages with more details about these guys' work if you're interested in checking out their other animation. Although he was not one of the main animators, one of the assistant animators was Hideaki Anno, creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. It may not have been a direct source of inspiration, but I can't help but see a connection between Evangelion's mysterious ending and Birth's mystical acid trip style ending. Finally, I want to point to a couple scenes which I think illustrate Birth's unique artistic direction. After the opening scenes, which introduce us to the beautiful female protagonist Rasa, we travel to space where we witness the birth of a powerful sword called Shade. Two comedic scavengers, the cigar-chomping Mr. Bao and the handsome stoic Kim, pursue the sword hoping to get a rich reward selling it. As Mr. Bao boasts in this scene, there's a weird effect shot where it cuts away to a colorful, abstract representation of his face in the middle of a sentence. I'm guessing this was supposed to be a subtle visual gag, or maybe it's supposed to represent his bold comedic character, but it's a good example of the feel of this movie in general. There's a lot of abstract, subtle visual gags and shots snuck in, possibly because the director encouraged his key animators to add their own unique visual ideas to their scenes. The result is you never know quite what to expect from scene to scene. Blink and you'll miss some of the absurd visual gags and character expressions they sneak in, and you could definitely watch this movie over and over again, catching different things that you missed the first time you watched it. Another standout scene occurs midway through the movie as the young male hero, Nam, enters a room housing an ancient weapon with the power to destroy an entire planet. The entire color composition switches from dark, muddy tones of the underground city to incredibly bright, intense colors and shapes inside the chamber. It creates this haunting, ominous feel, which foreshadows the danger of the weapon. Although the entire movie is filled with these sorts of unique, abstract moments, they're all visually distinct from one another, which again I think is an example of the director giving his key animators individual responsibility for their own scenes. Although the result is this beautiful, ambitious movie, it's also pretty jarring to jump from scene to scene with the style changing so much. In sum, I don't really understand this movie, and that's actually one of its strengths. I would 100% strongly recommend it to anyone who loves traditional animation and would like to study it more. While the incredible chase sequences are personally my favorite part, they might be a little too long for younger viewers and people who get bored easily. If you aren't personally an animation buff and are just looking for a fun movie to watch, I would still recommend Birth because of how unique it is, but I would add the qualification that it's really, really weird. So don't go in expecting this to be a standard Hollywood sci-fi flick. With that, I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Tell me what you think of Birth and if there are any other movies like this that you'd recommend in the comment section, and I'll catch you later.